areas. Throughout the world, Habitat for Humanity International has helped more than 13 million people find strength, stability, and self-reliance through shelter. We build in all 50 states in the United States and the District of Columbia, as well as Puerto Rico. And here locally, we were established in 1985. We have served roughly 350 families within the Sarasota area. And our affiliate boundary area, to define a geographic space, goes from University Parkway on the north to State Road 681 on the south. We go to the water and then all the way out to DeSoto County. So when you come to our affiliate, that is where we build in that general rectangle. So when you're purchasing a house from us, that is basically the area that you are agreeing to live in. We also have a restore that is on 17th Street, and that helps us fund our mission. We supply that restore from donors in the community that give us their, say, household cabinets that they're replacing, couches, furniture, and then we sell that at our location, and it helps us fund our overhead so that when anybody gives us a donation, 100% of their money goes toward helping a family in Sarasota to purchase a house through our program. We are very fortunate for our community support through our restore, and we're very proud of that. So I invite you all to stop in and check out our store. We're also an equal housing opportunity provider. And what that means is that we do not discriminate based on race, color, religion, sex, handicap, age, national origin, or how big or small your family is. Anybody can apply for our program, and the only major stipulation is that we are an income-based program, and I will get into that here coming up. We have two programs that I would like to share with you today. The first one is our homeownership program, and the second one is for our critical home repair program. So I'm going to jump right into homeownership. The applicants must be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident to apply for our program. You must live or work in Sarasota County, and you must be a first-time home buyer. We define a first-time home buyer by somebody that has not owned a home in the past 3 years. And you also must demonstrate a need for improving your living condition. That could be that your rent is more than 30% of your income. It could mean that you are a family of 5 and you are living in a 2-bedroom home. It could mean that you are renting a home and your landlord has not replaced the roof and there are leaks, or maybe the plumbing isn't functioning in one of the bathrooms, and that's considered substandard living. And the average time frame that it takes to complete our program from when you submit your application to when you purchase a mortgage from us takes roughly around 1 year. So I have a question for the participants in our webinar today. And if I could ask Jerry to monitor the chat feature, because I can't see it on my screen now, but I'm just curious, of the participants that are here with me today, how many of you currently rent? Maybe type in the letter A. And how many of you are homeowners? Give me a B. And I'll let everyone have a few minutes to hit that chat. So A,
Okay, I
if you're
see
a
B.
renter, and B, if you're a homeowner.
So I see B, one A, another A, a B, an A, a B.
Okay, so it looks like what, 50-50? We've got renters and homeowners. Okay, great.
Just
So
about.
the beginning portion of this is going to be for the audience of people that are renting right now. I'm talking to you. And then at the end, I will get to my homeowners. Okay. So to the renters out there that are interested in becoming a homeowner, I'm going to share with you some of the guidelines for our program. And we are a special purpose mortgage. What that means is that we are income based. And in order for you to get a mortgage with Habitat, which would be 0% interest, which is different than a bank loan, banks charge interest, we do not. So therefore, there's guidelines on family size and household incomes. So for example, in Sarasota, where we are, a family of 3 cannot earn more than $55,100. That could be a mom and 2 children. It could be a mom and a dad and 1 child. It's family size, anybody that will be living in the house. Habitat does not define the income limits. The Office of Housing and Urban Development every year give us our guideline and our maximum affordability or guidelines for income for this area. So if you are looking in Manatee County or Hillsborough County of Florida, their income guidelines are different than ours. So this is just Sarasota. Applicants must also demonstrate 2 years of consistent documented income, and that's verified through your tax returns. And also, I just want to pause for a second here. I am going to be taking questions at the end. If anything I say is confusing or you have a question, throw it in the chat so that you don't forget it, and we'll go back to it at the end. Okay, so the second component of our program is what we define as willingness to partner. And what that is reporting any changes throughout the application cycle to our loan originators. And we also ask that our program participants complete sweat equity. What that is volunteering your time while you're in our program to help build a Habitat home. And the reason for that is to build a sense of community with our volunteers, and also get to know how your home is built, because you're going to be maintaining it once you get the mortgage. So in the end, the payoff is a 0% interest mortgage. We also have a deposit that is required at the time of closing. And we offer pathway to homeownership workshops. Those are geared toward first-time home buyers. They're budgeting classes. They are going through mortgage documents page by page, explaining what a mortgage is, explaining why you need homeowners insurance, explaining maintenance, the home warranty that comes with the house. And we'll teach you all of those in an intimate setting. And we also we have partners within the community that from legal aid that will come in and explain to you the different documents that you need legally now that you're a homeowner to protect that largest investment that you will ever purchase, is usually your home. So we want to make sure that you and your children are protected, and we have the legal aid folks come in and explain there's certain documents, living wills and stuff like that that they talk about. And also the willingness to partner is understanding where we build, and that you are agreeing that yes, indeed, you want to purchase a home where we build. I do want to put out there that due to COVID right now, our build sites are closed to homeowners participating in their sweat equity. So we have documents that we provide that just kind of put all of that on pause until it is safe to do so. So we are still building, we are still serving families, but our build sites are not open to the public for the construction and the sweat equity portion. Okay. So how do I apply? We have applications you can download on our website, and they're in English and Spanish. There are questions and answers on our website as well under the homeownership program. Or you can email this email address right here, and that will provide you a direct contact to our homeowner services coordinator who can answer any questions that you may have. So download the application from the website. That's the easiest way to get it. Otherwise, we can email it to you. So once you get your application, you'll see that there's a checklist of things on the front page that you need to submit. I do not recommend that you email us directly sensitive information, your driver's license, social security number, bank statements. Do not email. It is not safe. So what we have provided right here is, if you email us a request for a secure link, then everything will be uploaded to a what's called Dropbox, and it is secure and not going to be compromised. Or you can mail your application to our office using the U.S. Postal Service, and that's the address. You can also fax it. If it's easier for you to fax from your work, go right ahead and fax any documents that you have, and just make sure it's a cover letter to our homeownership department. Okay. Once you've submitted your application, you're going to have a financial review. And what we are looking for, don't worry about credit score. A lot of people are nervous. My credit score is low. We don't look at your credit score. What we are looking at is, do you pay your car payment? Is your rent paid on time? And do you have consistent employment? And any credit cards that you may have, as long as you are current paying on them, that is what we are looking for. And we will work with you on, if you have any collections, we can help you figure out how to get payment plans for those as well. Our program is a partnership. So once you submit that application, we are here to partner with you and to help you clear up any blemishes that you may have in your financial review. And the purpose of that is, when you do purchase a home from us and you do look for homeowners insurance, your credit is going to be better at that time than when you apply, so that your homeowners insurance rate is the best that we can get it. And we're also going to perform what's called a home visit to verify that there is a need for improved housing. Our home visits look different today than they did a year ago. We are doing them via Zoom. So we will have a meeting just like this, where you're sitting at your house and you basically walk us around your house and show us if, there's leaks or cracks, then you just show us that. The bedrooms, if there's a brother and a sister sharing a bedroom, then that's all we're verifying. And it's a great time to have a one-on-one, face-to-face conversation and ask any questions that you may have regarding our program. And once you're approved for the program, that's when you would start your sweat equity we talked about, perform your classes, supply the deposit. It doesn't have to be paid all in one lump sum. You can set up $100 here, $200 there, and get that in that 1 year time frame. Then what we'll do is we'll show you your where houses are being complete, and offer you a property, and then we'll walk you through the mortgage with our closing attorney. And then you can celebrate like we did yesterday with Miss Wanda, and she's moving in this weekend. So that is basically our homeownership program. And I will move into our critical home repair program. Jerry, how am I doing on time?
You're doing just fine.
Okay, good. I'm trying to talk slow, but I don't want to monopolize here.
It's quite all right. If we run a little bit over,
Okay.
It's perfectly fine. This
program's a little bit shorter. So this is for all of my homeowners that are out there. You currently own a home. You can be paying a mortgage. You don't have to be paying a mortgage. Maybe your home is already paid off. That is okay. Critical home repair program is intended for homeowners that have a repair that is critical to the structure of the home that you may not be able to afford to hire a licensed contractor. For example, it could be a roof. Say you have a leak in your roof, but you don't have $15,000 to pay that roofer, then you would apply for our program. And in the end, what we do is record a mortgage on your house, but there is no payments due. So I'll get into the finance part of that in a second. The eligible repairs for this program are roof repairs or replacement, hot water heater replacement, heating and air conditioning systems replacement, and plumbing and sewer repairs. To qualify for this program, you must be named on the deed. We are going to ask for a copy of the deed. Your name has to be on there. It also has to be your primary residence. We verify that through homestead exemption. If you are paying a mortgage, it must be current. And your property taxes must also be current. And the property must be located within that boundary area I talked about, University Parkway to State Road 681. And your home value cannot exceed $272,000, which we will verify through the property appraiser's website. The income guidelines are the same as I mentioned before. So if you are a 2-person household, that is $49,000. If you're a 4-person household, your income may not exceed $61,200. Okay, so this being that it's a critical need, we fast track these applications. So from when the time that you apply for our program to when the project is submitted to the contractor, it is less than 3 months. We realize a leaking roof can turn into major health issues. We know that in the month of June and July, when the air conditioner breaks, we don't need you sitting around for 6 months waiting for that repair to happen. So these come in and they're approved in a quick manner. Once when you do get approved for the program, you will sign a mortgage for the cost of the repair. All of the repairs are done from licensed contractors. We, Habitat, do not send volunteers to your house to do these repairs. They are licensed contractors and insured contractors within Sarasota that we have partnerships with. And the mortgage terms are that there are no payments or interest. And when, say, it's a $15,000 roof and a $15,000 mortgage, it is due back to Habitat when you sell the home or when it gets transferred to another family member. So how do I get an application? Same way, download it from our website. On our website that I have on the screen, you will see it says homeownership program, help, and critical home repair is a tab on our website. There's frequently asked questions, and the application is found there again in English and Spanish, or you can email this email address and request an application. And how do you submit the application? It is the exact same way. You can send us an email asking for a secure link. You can fax us your application, or you can mail us your application. Okay, and with that, I will see if anybody has any questions for me.
So I tried to unmute myself for a moment there. We found one good question from Facebook. They ask, do you also help elderly people with this?
Yes, there is no age different. There's no age requirement for our, are you talking about the critical home repair program?
I believe so. It doesn't specify.
Okay, either program, we cannot discriminate by age. So anybody is able to apply as long as you are over the age of 18.
Excellent, thank you for that. I'm looking in the chat on Zoom. Si tienes preguntas, pregúntame. And oh, here we are. Here's one question for Rhonda. Do they take care of the permit for their repairs? I think the question is more, does the person whose house is being repaired, do they take care of the permit, or does Habitat?
Great, that is a great question. You apply to Habitat, and the vendor that we choose will pull the permit, and the county will do all of the inspections that are required for that permit to close. But yes, absolutely, all of those fees for that permit and all of that application for the permit is done through our vendor, not the responsibility of the homeowner.
Excellent. It sounds like Habitat truly makes an effort to streamline this process as much as they can. That's really wonderful.
Yes.
Let me look back on Facebook and see if there's any other questions. I do not see any. And in the Zoom chat, there are none. So I think, unless you would have something else to add here at the end, I think you may be done.
I don't. I just want to tell everybody out there that the biggest step is submitting that application, and the rest is a partnership, and we will help you. I encourage you to just submit the application, and don't say no for us. Give yourself the opportunity for homeownership or for that repair program that we have, and we will help you as best that we can.
That's really wonderful. As soon as I said there were no more questions, I had a question pop up. It's still specific to, I believe, the elderly. It says, do you also help people that receive Social Security but are also working at the same time?
Yes, we look at the Social Security benefits. We'll just request a letter, as well as income, and then we'll do the math for you. I don't want you to assume that you would not qualify. Let us do the math. And I just encourage you to apply.
Excellent, thank you.
There's one more question from Rosa. Her question is, do you have to be legal in the country? She's not a resident nor a citizen, but she's already been living here for years. So does she qualify?
You have to be a U.S. citizen or a or what's that other term?
A permanent resident.
Permanent resident, yes.
Mhm.
And the reason for that is it is a legal document that you will be signing, and therefore those are the two requirements.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Rhonda. That was a really great presentation.
Well, thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it, and I wish everyone a wonderful weekend.
Thank you for joining us, Rhonda. Have a good night.
Okay, up next is Andy Guyre. I hope I said that correctly this time. He's the housing program manager at Turning Points. I'm going to turn it over to him. So yeah.
Andy, I think you muted there.
I just had to unmute myself.
No worries.
So can you see my purple screen?
I can. It looks good.
Okay. As she said, my name's Andy Guyre. I'm the housing program manager at Turning Points. I have been at Turning Points for about 3 years now. What we do is we try to assist families to remain in their housing if they get behind on their rent. And we also help families to move into housing if they are doubled up, sleeping at other people's houses or living on the streets, and whatever the situation may be. We're going to go through a few slides here. First of all, we do have a pretty robust staff. You have myself, and then we have 4 regular case managers, and we've just added a 5th person who is also a case manager and a housing specialist. So these are the people you would be working with if you came and applied to our agency. The housing specialist, half of her day is finding places for people to move into. So that's a new position, and it's very, very beneficial. And we'll get into some of that a little bit more in a few minutes. To get an appointment at Turning Points, first, you must be homeless or at risk of homelessness or need utility assistance. And we'll go into what is homeless and what is at risk of homeless in a few minutes. But if you basically need assistance paying your rent or paying for utility assistance, you can fill out an application. To do that, you'll go to our website on Monday morning at 9 a.m. to complete an application, and we're going to walk through that process in just a minute. If you don't have access to a computer or you're not comfortable doing it at home, if you come to our office at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, you're guaranteed you will get your application submitted that day. The reason we say 8:30 is because it is a large number of people who apply. And that's when we start working with the people who are already in our office. Once you applied, you're evaluated for eligibility for any of our available grants. At any given time, we have anywhere between 10 and 20 grants that we're looking at. So you may not qualify for one, you may qualify for 2 others. So don't listen to what your friends got when they came in. Apply and let us look at them, because you might get something better or you may not qualify. And we'll go into a little bit of that. We do not assist if your landlord has already filed for eviction in court. So the main thing is, the minute you find out you can't pay your rent, you need to come in and ask for help. Don't wait till they go to court. Once it's in court, we can't help. Once you apply, then we will email you an intake packet. It's about 10 pages. You fill that out, bring in your supporting information to our office, and then we assign it to a case manager. Once we assign you to a case manager, it's typically 1 to 2 days, and you're doing your interview and we're looking at your eligibility. So it's a very, very fast process if you fully participate. Types of assistance are homeless prevention and utilities or rapid rehousing, as I mentioned. Homeless prevention means you got a notice from your landlord that you're behind on your rent. They say you have 3 days, 5 days, or 10 days to pay. Or you have a notice of utilities being behind. What you would do is fill out the application. Then you must have something that caused you to get behind. You can't just get behind because you chose not to pay your bill. You have to have something. A child was sick and you missed work because you had to take care of your child. That's something that happened. Your car broke down, so you had to get your car fixed or you couldn't go to work. That's an event that happened. So you have to show something happened to help you get behind. And that way we can really benefit you the most. And then, as mentioned before, the eligibility depends on the grant's requirements. Now, rapid rehousing, that's what we call literally homeless. Literally homeless is you're living on the streets. You're in the parks, your car, out in the woods, outdoors anywhere, sleeping in an abandoned property, or if you're staying at the Salvation Army or the Hope Family Services emergency shelters. The third way is if you've already gone to an agency and that agency's paying for the hotel. Those are the only three things that are defined as homeless in our community. If you're sleeping with friends in friends' houses, or if you are staying with family, or even if you've got a hotel that you're paying for, you are not considered homeless. And that impacts which grants we can use. For rapid rehousing, you don't go through your normal application process. If you are literally homeless, you need to come into Turning Point and have what's called an access intake done. It's a brief interview. It takes about 20 minutes. And then we notify the Suncoast Partnership to End Homelessness. They put you on a list with other homeless individuals because we're trying to get the most needy people off the streets. If you are a family of 5, you may have a higher need than a family of 1. If you've been homeless for 2 years, your need's more extreme than someone who just became homeless yesterday. So they're looking at a bunch of things to see who is most needy. And then they will refer you either to us or to another community partner who has rapid rehousing funds. But those funds are not just our typical one-time grant. We work with you over 6 months to a year to get you housed and stable. So I'm going to skip questions for now, and I'm going to actually show you how to fill out an application. So let me share the other screen here. So to do so, you would go to our website, which is www.tp, as in Turning Points, manatee.org, and you'll come up to this screen. Then you'll go to Programs and Services, and then you'll go down to, go down to Rent and Utility Assistance. And then on Monday morning at 9 o'clock, you'll scroll down here and this little green box will say Application Open. So once you're there, you click on that, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when you get inside. If I can't see my, give me a second, I'll get to that page real quick. I couldn't see because of all the instructions on the top there. Okay, let's do that again. Okay, this is our application. It is a very simple application. You'll go in, you'll put in your name, John Doe. Say if you were in the military, yes or no. Are you a Manatee County resident? That's something I didn't mention. We do serve only Manatee County. So if you're in Sarasota County, we cannot assist until you've lived in Manatee County at least 30 days. So you mark that, you put in your date of birth. You put homeless or at risk of homeless or even other. So we'll say at risk of homeless, got behind on rent. Keep going down. Is this for HUD or Section 8? If you already have a voucher through Section 8, you would mark yes. In this case, we'll put no. How many adults? 1, how many children? We'll say 2. Put in your phone number and your cell phone. That is important because we need to know where to get in touch with you. Once you fill out that packet, we need to know who to call or who to email. The email is even more important. If you don't put one of those, we don't know where to send the intake packet. So you put in your email. Are you employed? Yes. Are you looking for work? No, because you're working. Have a 3-day notice? Yes. Landlord hasn't gone to court. And then what type of lease is it? Year long or month to month? And what caused you to be homeless? That's where I mentioned that a special something had to happen. Car broke down. Then you come to the bottom and you hit send. So there was an error there. I'm glad that happened because our application has been having that problem. If that happens, keep trying to hit send. If it keeps happening, quickly go back into the application again and resubmit it. That's another reason why it's better to come to our office. If you come to our office, we guarantee you'll get an application. Even if the application gets shut down, we can give you a paper application. If you're doing it from home and it decides not to work, then it usually gets shut down in about 5 minutes after it opens at 9 o'clock, and then you may have difficulty getting an application in. We are working on that issue, but as of today, you can see it hasn't been fixed. A few questions I know are going to come up if they're not already there. As long as one person in your house is a permanent resident or US citizen, we can look at your case and possibly help. So if both parents are illegally here or undocumented, however you want to say it, if one of the children was born in the United States, we can help with some of our grants. So that's a very positive thing. We do not discriminate. If you don't speak English, there's a good chance you'll have me as a case manager. I speak Spanish. Carmen speaks and Alexa both speak limited Spanish. And if they're having difficulty, they will call the interpretation line, as will the others. They can work through the interpretation line we have a contract with, so we can have interpreters to interpret the interviews and any other phone calls. And if you just get frustrated and you come in, you'll see one of us and we will manage to get the interpreting done and get the questions answered. I'm there all the time. So and it's very rare I'm not there. And if no one else there speaks Spanish, they're going to call me because it's ultimately my problem to solve. So do you have any other questions?
So I'm looking in the chat. I don't see anybody adding anything yet. I mean, you had a very thorough presentation. I had some questions going into this that you answered already. I'm checking Facebook and I don't see any questions. So if somebody does have questions, what would be a good email for you? Should I share yours or do you want?
Yeah, you can share mine.
Excellent.
You have mine on file, right?
Correct. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat and on Facebook there too.
And if they miss it, they can send it to you and you can forward it and I'll just follow up with them directly. It's maybe copy you if it's something you know you're going to get more questions on.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Andy. We really
You're welcome.
appreciate it. That was a great presentation. All right, moving on to our last speaker. We have Jose Torres from Keller Williams Realty. I will let you take over.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Jose Torres. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams on the water. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about first-time home buying. And if you're paying rent today, there's a very good chance that you'll be able to own a home. And there's programs now that can assist you. If you're not necessarily a citizen, but you have an ITIN number, yeah, you can qualify for loans as long as you have built up some credit history. And most recently, I received a very nice note from one of our partners that if you have a work permit under DACA, you may now be able to qualify for an FHA loan, which means that it would be a very low interest and low down payment. So let me take you through the process of buying a first home. Can everybody see the slide? All right.
Yes, and it looks wonderful.
All right. So my name is Jose Torres. I work with my wife, Carmen Garcia. We're both from Puerto Rico. We're both realtors licensed here in the state of Florida. We're what we call ourselves as the Home Connection Team, and is helping folks achieve your dreams of home ownership. Today, as you look at buying your first home, what are some of the things that you need help with? If you can write those down on the chat, I'll be happy to try to answer some of that as we go through the presentation or towards the end of the presentation. So we're going to do a very short 5-step presentation. First off, we're going to talk about fears and facts about buying a home, the realities of the real estate market that we have today, 6 simple steps to home ownership, some discussion about financing and what the next steps would be. So what are some of the fears? A lot of folks worry about, well, I can't afford a home right now. And really, until you really sit down and do the math, you're not going to know whether you can afford a home. Maybe you cannot afford the ultimate home you would like to buy, but you may be able to afford a starting home that then you can work it into becoming a long-term home. Or basically, if I look at my own history, my first property when I was young and had no money was to buy a lot. And I spent a year getting the building permits, and then I sold that lot with the building permits, and I bought my first house, which was 750 square feet, 2-bedroom, 1 bath in a 50 by 50 lot. And I lived there. My first daughter was born there. And then I was able to sell that home and buy my next home, which was a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. And my second daughter was born there. So there is a path to get to the ultimate home you want, but you need to start now. You may be worried about that you should wait until the markets get better. There's never really a good time to, or right time to buy a home. Today is the right time to start looking because you may miss an opportunity that may not be there later. Another fear is that you may not have the money for the down payment. Well, there's programs available where you may be able to get a loan, especially with this, for example, the new DACA work permits, where you only need a 3% down payment in order to buy a property. I cannot afford the dream of my homes is another one that comes up. You're never going to get there unless you buy your first home. And then you work from that first home and you turn that through equity and appreciation. You get to where you own the home of your dreams. So let's talk a little bit about that. Why buy now? Interest rates are at historically low levels, which means that for every percentage point of mortgage that goes down, you gain about $20,000 worth of home. So if before a 4% home, you were able to buy a home that costs $100,000, if you get a 3% home, you may be able to get a home that's worth $120,000 and still pay the same amount that you were paying before. Your long-term investment grows because you're paying the equity on the home down, and over time, the value of your home is going to appreciate. You're going to get more value and more dollars to spend in the future when you decide to sell this home to buy a different home. Pride of home ownership. Owning a home is a great matter of pride because you achieve something that is yours. It gives you a sense of community. It provides stability and security. It gives you the ability to express yourself because you can customize your home any way you like. If you want to make it pink with polka dots, it's your home. You can do whatever you want, and you have no restrictions on that. And it also gives you some tax benefits as you do your tax returns every year. So if we look at the impact of the low interest mortgages, Historically, when you look at how much of your income monthly you pay on the principal and interest, basically your mortgage payment, before you were averaging about 21.6%. So if you earn $1,000, $200 of that was going to pay for your mortgage and interest. Sorry, if you earn $1,200 of that went to mortgage and interest. Today, it's only about 15%. So if you make $1,000, about $150 of that now is going into principal and interest, and the rest of the funds go everywhere else. So you have a lot more buying power with the low interest rate. Now, when you compare owning versus renting, if you purchase a home for $250,000 and you pay $1,200 a month in principal and interest, at the end of 30 years, you would have paid $435,000, but you would own your home. Now, if you're renting a property, a home, and you're paying $1,200 a month, after 30 years, you would have spent $432,000 and you would not own anything because you've been paying rent instead of paying that money into your own investment of your home. So some of the reasons people hold buying is because, you may be changing jobs and you're afraid of job security and a new company. You may feel that your financial score is too low, or you don't have enough money for the down payment. The house you like is too expensive. You don't have enough, you're a short-term owner and you cannot, if you own a home and you're trying to roll it over, you may not have enough equity or appreciation on the current home that you own. There's a way to work around each one of these items. So as we look at the real estate market in an area in Sarasota, Manatee County, the average home price right now is about $350,000. So and that's looking at the broader county level. Buyer's market versus seller's market right now, because of COVID, is more of a seller's market. A lot of folks that were going to sell their home decided to hold off because if they sold it, they wouldn't have a place to go. So the houses that are available for sale, you can still find the deals, but they're going usually for the asking price. And in some instances, they've been some competitive bidding on some homes, but you can still find homes available. Low interest rates are all-time lows. I've heard 30-year mortgages going for 2.5%. So it's going to depend on your credit score, your down payment, and several other factors into the lending that determines that. But they are very, very low rates. And both Sarasota and Manatee are still growing counties. So there's still housing available, and there's going to be more housing available that's being in construction or is currently under construction that's going to be available for the future. So let's talk about 6 steps to own a home. We're going to talk about why should you hire an agent? How do you secure pre-approved financing? How do you find your home? How do you make an offer to negotiate? How do you get your home inspected and negotiate any repairs on the home that you're trying to buy? And then how do you become a homeowner and you protect your investment? So step number 1, hire an agent. So if you hire me or my wife or any other agent, things that our job as a real estate agent is to help educate you about the market. The real estate market is very hyper local, meaning that you can be in Sarasota, the city of Sarasota, but one neighborhood is going to behave differently from a price and appreciation standpoint than another neighborhood in the near vicinity. So part of our process is for us to educate you on what areas you like, and then what are the market conditions for those areas. Understand what are your wants and needs. Steer you to homes that fit your criteria, meaning that instead of you looking at 15 homes, I'm going to help you find the 5 homes that really meet your needs. And those are the ones that you're going to spend some time looking and evaluating. Coordinate the work of other professionals. There's a lot of coordination when you put your contract on a home. There's inspection periods. There's things you have to do with the lender, with the title company, the title searches, and the job of the realtor is to help you manage all of that activity so you don't have to. We're also here to negotiate on your behalf. Realtors can see the price of every home that has sold in your neighborhood. So we can tell you and help you negotiate is, homes in this area are going for this value. And this home is very comparable to those. And this is what would be a reasonable first time offer for that home. And we're going to help you negotiate. And if there's any issues with the home, we're going to help you negotiate those as well. So the last part of my job as an agent, or that any agent, you should expect these things, is to help you solve the problems as they come up. There will always be a problem when you purchase a home. There's always a problem in the process. The job of the realtor is just to help you navigate through those and get those resolved quickly so you can complete your transaction and you're happy with your new home. So one of the things that any realtor that is going to work with you is going to ask you for is to sign a buyer's representation agreement. This sets a mutual set of expectations in writing. It commits the realtor to find the perfect home for you, and it commits you to give him some level of exclusivity. The realtor gets paid from the seller's commission. So you as a buyer get all the benefits of an agent, and it doesn't cost you anything. So what we ask in return is that you work exclusively with the agent of your choice and let them do the work for you to help you find your home. So when to hire your agent. I'm going to play you a very quick video that's going to show you all of the different steps that go into signing a home, especially if you're leasing today. And, let's say that your lease is going to expire in August. So when should you start looking for an agent and what are the steps? So this is going to be a very quick video.
When should you hire your agent? Say your lease is up in April. You would need to move out by April 30th, making your last lease payment on April 1st. This means you'll want to move into your new home no later than the end of April. To make this happen, you'll need to close or take ownership of your new home sometime in April, assuming a 45-day close, be under contract to purchase in late February or early March, begin looking at houses in January, get pre-approved for your mortgage with a lender so you know how much you can afford in December, prepare your finances in November, and begin working with me within that same month. From hiring me as your agent to getting the keys to your new home can take 5 to 6 months. So who's ready to get started today?
So as you can see, that there is a time-consuming process when you decide to purchase a home. You have to find an agent, get your finances in order. I'm going to go from top to bottom on the list. And taking care of your finances can be as simple as creating your budgets for how much you can afford, knowing what your bills are going to be, how much money you have available for the purchase. Or it can be a little bit more time consuming if, for example, you have an ITIN number, but you haven't filed tax returns for at least 2 years. So the first step would be to put you in contact with a financial mortgage advisor that's going to help you through the process of establishing your credit. It's going to give you a set of steps to take in order to help you get to the pre-approval stage where they're going to say you can afford X amount of dollars and we're going to guarantee that you're going to get a loan for X amount of dollars. So now you have something to take over when you're putting contracts or you're putting offers on a home to tell you what you can afford. The pre-approval, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Start looking once you have the pre-approval.
Sorry to interrupt, Jose, really quickly. For some reason, it seems that the screen is still stuck on the video. I'm not sure why.
Hang on. Did it move now?
No,
Okay, let me stop the share and I'll start again.
that was a good idea. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Computers sometimes just do their own thing.
Okay, is it working now?
It seems like it's loading.
Can you see the step 2 screen?
It says you've started screen sharing, but it doesn't for some reason show the full. For some reason, no, it's blank.
Okay.
Not sure why. Here, let me,
Let
you
me
go ahead and try again, and then I'll pull up the presentation from my side just in case.
Can you see the screen?
Still says, it says you started sharing, but for some reason it comes up as blank. So let me try let's try it from my side, and then you
Okay.
just tell me.
So if you could go to, let me stop my share.
I want to say the when to hire agent slide.
Yeah, when to hire an agent.
All right. There we go. And Alex, just keep an eye on the chat if you could.
Okay. So, so once you go through that pre-approval, the bank is going to give you a letter that says that you are pre-approved for a certain amount to make an offer. And when sellers are looking for offers, that's one of the things that they typically will request, is that you have a pre-approval letter. Once you have that, you can start looking. It'll probably take, if you do your, a good partnering with your agent, and he knows exactly what you need for your new home, that can take about 30 days to find you the right home. Once you get it under contract, it'll probably take a couple of days to negotiate. And under contract, you have to then go through a series of inspections and steps, and I'll cover that here in the next few slides, until the time you take ownership. And at that point, you move into your new home and you wrote your last check for a lease. So go ahead and go to the next screen. Next slide, please. So let's talk about secure pre-approved financing. Next slide. So there's two main words that you're going to hear a lot. One is called pre-qualification and one is called pre-approval. The pre-qualification is kind of an informal review where a lender will ask you a series of questions. They'll run a credit report, and then they'll tell you, well, based on this information, we think that you'll qualify for X amount of dollars for a mortgage. So that is good to know, but the better one is the pre-approval. On the pre-approval, you fill your application. You're going to have a formal commitment. So the pre-approval is a formal commitment from a lender that you're going to be given a loan for a certain amount. It states how much you can borrow, at what rate, how much you have to put down. And it also makes you a stronger buyer in, if you have a multiple offer situation, you find a home that you really like and there's a couple other people bidding on it, it's going to make your offer stand out because you are already pre-approved. So you have the funds to complete the transaction. Next slide, please. So as far as choosing the lender, the best way to do that is to ask for referrals. Friends and family that recently got loans, or as an agent, I have a network of relationships that I share with my customers freely. And in a lot of instances, I have a lot of folks that speak Spanish, so they're bilingual, and they'll be able to help you in Spanish or English. You can interview them and see which one you like the best. Different lenders are going to have different programs for home buying. So it's good to talk to several of them and see what is it that they offer to find the one that's going to have a program that's going to be more suitable to your needs. Okay. So first things is you want to create a budget. Do a list of what are all your expenses, determine the amount you can comfortably spend on your new home. And if you're going to make some simple changes to free up more cash for the home purchasing, the time to do it is right at the beginning of the process. Next slide. So when you're being offered mortgages, there's three key decisions you have to make, or the lender's going to help you make. One is, how much down payment do you need? What is the interest rate? And for how long? So in the market today, there's adjustable rate mortgages where the rates change after a period of time. There's fixed rate mortgages where you can get a 15, a 20, a 30, or I think now they're going up to 40 years for a mortgage. And they're going to give you an interest rate, and the interest rate is going to change depending on the length of the term. And the down payment is really going to be based on what your credit worthiness is, and what you're putting in as a down payment on your home. Next slide. So when you pay your mortgage, you're really paying 4 key things. One is the principal, which is the amount of equity in your home. Second one is the interest, which is what the lender collects for the giving you that loan. You're going to pay taxes, which are the property taxes that are owed by the home, and you're going to pay insurance, which is there to protect the investment. So your mortgage payment will typically have all 4 of those components integrated into it. So as far as the down payment, based on the pre-approval amount, and depending on the loan that you use, it can vary from 3% to 20%. Now, the funds that you use for that down payment can come from friends and family, can come from your savings. If you have a side job that you've been saving that money, you can use any kind of money that you have available for that down payment. And depending on the type of loan, you can qualify for either, anywhere between a 3 and a 20%. Okay. Now, once you get that pre-approval, you have to maintain it. And what that means is don't start buying the furniture for the home until after you own the home. We've seen situations where somebody, they get pre-approved, they get a nice amount for the pre-approval, and then they went out and got a new credit card and started buying furniture for the house before they closed on the loan, and they lost their pre-approval. So they had to backtrack on the furniture and some other things to be able to reset the loan. So once you get that pre-approval letter, don't do anything related to credit. Don't go shopping until after you own your home and you have the closing completed. So step 3, how do we find your home? Go ahead. So one thing I ask everybody to do when they first sit down with me is let's talk about needs and wants. Needs are things that you absolutely need to have on the home. For example, if you're a family with 2 children, you more than likely are going to want a 3-bedroom home with at least 2 bathrooms and a yard. If you have a dog, you may want a bigger yard. If you have multiple vehicles, do you want a 2-car garage, or do you need, a driveway to park the vehicles? If you have a business where you're keeping your vehicles at home, a lot of landscaping type businesses, the folks bring the vehicle home. Are you in an area that will let you park the work vehicle in the neighborhood? Or do you need a couple of acres to be able to park the vehicles on the back? All those things are important to define before you start looking. Wants are things like, well, it would be nice if I have a island kitchen. It would be nice if I had Korean countertops. It would be nice if, those are the types of things that you put on that wants list. So it's very important that you learn about the market and you refine your search, because that's how you're going to get quickly to finding the right home. Right. So who has been, so far, who has been looking for or looking at houses? So when you work with an agent, the things that you look for, as a buyer is the layout appropriate for my needs? Do I have the right amount of space? Is it close to school and work? Does it have the right features and amenities? As an agent, what I'm looking for you is to see how that home compares in terms of the size, the layout, value to other homes in the area. What is the potential resale value? Are there any issues with the home? Is there any foundation issues? Does the air conditioners don't work? The roof is bad? Because those are things that cost money. And those are the things that we're trying to help you avoid, is buy a home that's going to need a bunch of work, and then you're not going to have the money to fix those items. So we try to deal with that on the front end when we're looking, and also during the negotiation if something comes out in an inspection. Okay. So you can also, in addition to buying homes, you can choose to buy a condo or a townhome. So some of the pros, the benefits is that there's a lower cost per square foot. There's no yard to maintain, so boys don't have to get the lawnmower out every weekend. Amenities can be part of the community. such as swimming pools, playgrounds, outside storage and things like that. The cons with condos and townhomes is shared ownership, meaning that you're sharing the space with other folks. You also are going to have homeowner fees and share maintenance costs. So as long as the buildings or the condos or the townhomes are newer, the cost of maintenance is going to be less. Here in Sarasota, Manatee, we have a lot of older communities, and some of these condos, the maintenance fees are higher than the mortgage. So you don't want to go into those situations. So they may have a really attractive price, and you say, wow, I can afford that. But when you look at the cost of the maintenance, it may be prohibitive. It may be worse than buying a home. Okay. Another option is new construction. So pros is you're buying brand new. It's going to have a warranty. In a lot of these communities, you can pick up a lot and certain features. Sometimes they have multiple sizes and designs, and you can lock in a price and get a good deal. Usually, if you're buying pre-construction. The cons is that you're going to live in a construction zone for a little bit. Adding features, for example, if the base model has carpet and you want to switch to tile, then you're adding costs to the new home. The amenities for the community may not be up yet, so they may still be building those. And sometimes trying to get a firm closing date may be a little tricky because it may take 6 months to build a home before you can actually close on the home. So it means 6 months of being judicious with your pre-approval, being patient, make sure that the construction gets done, that the quality is there, and then you can move into closing. Okay. So step 4 is making an offer and negotiating. Go ahead. So when you do that, you're looking at a price. So you're trying to be fair and make an offer that's reflective of the market value of the home. You want to look at the terms. There are 6 basic categories addressing timing and financial considerations. You want to have contingencies in the offer. For example, if the inspection comes back with too many issues, you have an option to basically back out of the deal without suffering any financial impact. All right. So once you get in a contract, basically you've made an offer, the offer was accepted. Now we have to get to work in the inspections and repairs. So the option period is after the offer is accepted, you have 7 to 10 days to complete inspections and identify any hidden issues. And really what we're looking for is the big stuff. Do you have a structural crack on the foundation? Do you have a roof that's leaking? Do you have an air conditioner that's near the end of its life? So those are the things that you want to catch during the inspection period. So don't sweat the small stuff. Every house is going to need some cleaning. Every house is going to need some level of painting. So the key here is, do we have any issues that are really going to add up to dollars, additional dollars that you were not in your plan when you were purchasing this home? So mold, termites, plumbing, electric, worn shingles, water stains, and things like that those are indications of bigger problems with any particular home. Step 6 is to close and be a homeowner, right? So in your closing, you kept yourself mortgage worthy throughout this process. You have your budget, and in your budget, you account for additional expenses. These are closing costs. Usually 2 to 3% of the value of the home you should expect to pay in closing costs. This could be points, title fees, appraisals, earnest money, the inspection, the survey costs, any miscellaneous fees. Typically, I recommend everybody gets 1 year of homeowner's insurance, and sometimes even a homeowner's warranty. So if the appliances fail that first year, you have a warranty that's going to protect you, and you can buy those very inexpensively when you purchase a home. And you do a final walkthrough of the home. Go At closing, your title company, which is the entity that's going to handle the documentation with the state, and they're going to collect the fees and disperse the fees, collect fees from the buyer and disperse the fees to the seller. They are going to ask you to bring certified funds, and that would be a certified check from the bank or a wire transfer, evidence of insurance, and a valid ID card. What you get at the end of the closing is you get a settlement statement that identifies line by line all of the costs associated with the transaction, that you're going to get transfer of a clear title. So there's not going to be any liens or encumbrances on the property, and the keys to your new home. So once you own the home, protect your investment. Do the maintenance. You know, if you do the routine maintenance, homes don't need a lot of attention. They just need to be kept clean. If there's something that breaks, address it right away. Don't let it fester, because the longer it sits, the worse it gets. Keep file of the receipts of repairs and any improvements that you make on the property, because those are things that add value. So if you buy a house with an old kitchen and then you have in your budget to redo the kitchen, now your home's going to be worth more because now you have a newer kitchen on your home. And then warranty, as far as if you have a home warranty, you can buy those to help you with the cost of any appliances, air conditioners, and things like that to go wrong during that first year living in your home. Okay, any questions? One more comment I wanted to make is there's always a way to, and there's always a path to home ownership. Let's say that you don't qualify for any loan programs. There's still out there opportunities where the sellers are willing to do seller financing, meaning that they will do the loan for you. There's also other opportunities when you can do a lease to own. Maybe you find a home you really like and we negotiate to have you lease the home for a couple of years while you build your credit and you build enough cash to then move into purchasing that property. So you can negotiate the price that you're going to pay for the property after the 2 years, but you get into the home that you like, and now you're leasing it for the first 2 years, but after that, you can make it your own. So there are always opportunities, and there's always ways to, the path to home ownership is really up to you to take the first step and make a phone call and talk to somebody about how do I go about it. Any questions? So let's see. You see any questions?
Right, let me look in the chat real quick here. There, I don't see anything. And let me look on Facebook real quick, just one moment here. Thank you for that. That was a really thorough and informative presentation. And you know, it's always good when there's not too many questions at the end. Let's take a look though, real quick, just a moment.
Hi, Jose. It looks like we have a question from Rosa. Si podría comprar con mi número ITIN?
See, if you have an ITIN number already and you have a credit card or you've been paying taxes for the past 2 years, there's a very good chance that you could qualify for financing for a new home.
Great. Jerry, do you see any questions through Facebook?
I see somebody put a phone number, but that says Senor Torres, but that's not my number.
Oh, I apologize for that. I found that from quickly Googling it. So let me see here. Go ahead. Feel free to go ahead and type your true number in the chat there.
Okay.
And from Facebook, we have a question from a Mr. Alvarez. He says, is it possible to talk with you without dedicating to pay? Basically, I think he's asking if he can just have a conversation about this without committing to retain your services.
Absolutely. Let me put my number here. That's my phone number, and I'll put my email as well. We're happy to do a consultation. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to us. And even if you're not ready to start, we can put you in contact with mortgage brokers that work with the Hispanic community, so they can have a conversation in Spanish. And they can tell you about the programs that are available.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Thank you for making yourself available to the community. I don't see any more questions on Facebook.
Um,
I'm going to raffle, and I'll let you guys pick the winners.
Oh boy.
The book that has all the detailed information on su primera casa, cómo comprar su primera casa, tiene lo que cubrí el día de hoy. Sorry, it has everything that I covered today and in more detail. So I have 2 copies. I'll be happy to raffle, and I'll let our great folks here at Unidos now to just tell me who to send them to.
Excellent. I picked a couple of names and let me make it fair. I have a coin. Just a moment.
okay, it seems that we have a few more questions. Can you buy a house if you don't have a social security number?
If you have an ITIN number, you can.
Okay,
And if you have a work permit through DACA, now it seems that you can as well. So I don't have all the details on that. I just got that information a couple of days ago from Cindy Jaramillo from Bank of England. So it seems that there's more opportunities now that we have a change in administration. It seems that we have more opportunities for home ownership for the folks here in the country.
okay. 2 more questions. So my sister lives in Venezuela. Can she buy a house from there, or does she need to be in the US to buy a house?
No, anybody can purchase a home in the US. If you're, I actually have a client from Argentina. I'm trying to help her find a home. So you can purchase a home in the United States. You don't have to be a resident to own a home. Where the part it gets tricky is in all the transfer of funds from the country into the US for the transaction. That's usually going to be the more complicated part. But you can own a home, yes.
Okay, and last question I see is, I don't have good credit. Can I still be approved for a mortgage?
Depending on your credit, the number I've heard is if you have 620 credit score, that's usually about the minimum, but there are other programs available. The best way to do that is I'd be happy to give you names and contacts for the mortgage brokers. And if you're not ready, they'll put you in a path to prepare for home ownership. So if your credit score is not good, it doesn't take much to fix it. It's just getting some steps going to repair it, and your score will go up in 30 to 60 to 90 days. Your score will be up 100 points. So there's the opportunity. It's just you have to plan and work at it.
Okay, thank you. Let's see.
And just to mention about the raffle, I had flipped a coin, but we need to include our Facebook participants as well to be truly fair. So to be participating in the raffle, email us at info@unidosnow.org with your name and phone number by 5 p.m. today to be entered for a chance to win su primera casa.
Okay. There is one more, I guess, question from someone in the chat. Me interesa comprar casa, ¿cómo los puedo contactar? Yo solo tengo ITIN number. So.
You can dame una llamada el lunes. Hoy, después de esta reunión, tengo otras reuniones, pero si me llamas el lunes, te puedo ayudar y ponerte en contacto con las personas que te pueden ayudar con la hipoteca.
Okay, muchas gracias. Okay, thank you so much, Jose. That was a great presentation. As Jerry said, very informative. We really appreciate you taking the time to come speak with us today. I'm going to share my screen again.
One quick thing, I provided the presentation and one in English and an additional booklet in Spanish. Feel free to share that with the community.
Oh.
Yes, I'll put that in the chat right now.
That's
here.
great.
I was looking for the link here.
All right.
I'll put this on the Facebook as well. And that survey there, if you want to give us some feedback on this workshop and have a little bit of say over our future workshops, please fill out that survey for us.
Okay. And here, oh my goodness. Okay. And here are some resources to learn more specifically about the clubs that we have in the high schools. We have clubs in Sarasota County, Manatee County. So they're great for kids to come together and learn a little bit more about college prep and SATs and ACTs. So if you're interested and your kids go to any of these high schools, then they can join some of our clubs. Here are the rest of the workshops that we'll be doing for this year. Our next workshop is about technical and community colleges, our local post-secondary education opportunities, certificates, and short-term career training programs. And that will be February 20th, same time as now, right, Jerry? 10:30 to 12:30?
Correct.
Yes, at the same link that you clicked on today, we'll be streaming to Facebook Live as always, and we hope to see you all there. Any questions? Please contact Jerry. His email is right there. Would you mind putting that in the chat as well, Jerry?
Absolutely.
So you can email him. And let's see. Also, please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And here's a link to our website if you have any more questions. That website is able to be translated into Spanish if you'd like. And, you know, the best way to keep updated with what we're doing here at Invitados now is by following us on all of our social media pages. And I want to thank everyone who participated today in the Charles and Marjorie
Barancic Foundation.
Barancic Foundation. Huge thank you to them for their continued support of Invitados Now. And I thank you all for taking the time out of your day to spend it with us and to learn more about housing. I hope you found this very informative. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And yeah, Jerry, any final words?
Nothing, just a great big thank you once again to all the panelists today. It was wonderful. If you missed part of the presentation, this will be saved on our Facebook page and you can view it at your leisure in the future at any point in time. So again, if anybody has any questions that come up after this, please reach out to us. We're here for you. We're here to help you, and we're happy to help you. All right. Absent any other questions in the chat here, I don't see any. Thank you, Jose. And thank you for our interpreter, Ms. Perez. Thank you. And everybody have a wonderful Saturday.
You too.